go?
Yeah. Man, I turned down my first NHL contract. Was Nashville Predators wanted to sign me. I just didn't feel it.
So Nashville was Nashville AHL and NHL?
Yeah. So Nashville Predators, Milwaukee Admirals.
And you're
Two-way
4
contract.
years into your pro career at this point?
5. Oh.
And you're just getting your first NHL deal. That's why it's so different nowadays, right? Like
That's
nowadays, if you're not in the NHL in 5 years, like you're done. Like that's it. It's over.
That's right. So, and I just didn't feel comfortable with it. I thought I was worth more, obviously, with your American League money. So I just didn't want to be lowballed. And I didn't feel comfortable. So I turned it down. And my agent at the time was like, don't worry about it. We're fine. We'll be all right. And Pittsburgh called. And I remember I was with my wife, my cousin. We were at Boston Pizza. And my agent called and he's like, Pittsburgh Penguins. Done. Just instantly, like, done. Like, I don't even care. Like, they got the 2 best centermen in the game. And if I could ever get a chance to play with those guys, I'll score goals. And I know I will.
That's what you do.
Just you play with elite players, and that's what happens. And you figure out how to play with them, and you score. And obviously, didn't work out that way towards the end. But I heard Pittsburgh Penguins, and I was like signed on the dotted line, and it was like my first NHL contract was with them, and it's unbelievable. Yeah.
I can't imagine, man, especially after grinding it out in well, I guess not Pensacola. You didn't grind it out there, but like San Angelo, which your second year of pro, like nowadays, if your second year in pros in San Angelo, chances are you ain't making the show. No, but you actually like did. So then you get 32 goals with Devils. You sign with Pittsburgh, and I understand the thinking. Like, and they need wingers. They need wingers. That's what they need.
They
to
needed
go with
wingers
those guys,
back then, right? Like
and they still do. That's how their system works there. And
that's right.
But I'm not sure what my notes really mean here, but that you've got 15 games 1 year and 20 games the other year. So you basically, you went there, you must have had a decent camp. Were you close to making the team right out of it?
No, not even close.
Camp.
I was not even close out of camp.
Those camps are big deals, eh? Like how you first impression of the first part of the season is like, it was so weird back in the day, right? Like it was all about how ready you were.
Where you were drafted.
That too.
Where you're drafted and that first impression with the coach, and if the coach didn't like it, it was see you later, you're gone. I think I ended up getting 1 or 2 exhibition games my first year with them. And pretty much in awe all the time. Just you're there with Crosby, Malkin, Stahl, Fleury, Lieutenant. Like you're with all these guys, Gonchar, Ryan Malone, Armstrong, Ryan Whitney, you name it. You're in awe of everybody, right? Even though they're younger than half of them were younger than you, and you're just like.
What's weird to me is I was in awe in the AHL. Like it at least took you to the NHL to feel that.
So that's the way it was in Pittsburgh. You go to the minors, and we had an unbelievable team, man. We were awesome. We were close group, and man, like we partied hard off the ice. We partied on the ice. We had a great team. We ended up making it to the finals that first year. Actually, we lost to Chicago, which was pretty much a.
Is that Darren Haidar and all those?
Haidar.
Is it Haidar and Krog? That line was Jeff Campbell with them?
No, that was who was it was man, what's the kid's name? Sterling.
Oh yeah. He was a roller hockey player too. Yeah, a little left-handed shot. Yeah, no, I know him. Colorado College.
So just the team we had there, the thing I liked about the Pittsburgh organization, which I loved about it, was everybody got an opportunity. It didn't matter if you were drafted, a walk-on, or a free agent signing. Every single guy, if you were playing well, you're getting called up. Right?
It's all about how you're playing, and that should make sense because Some
Yeah,
people get drafted when they're 18 and they were
that's
really
right.
good when they were 18. But guess what,
Exactly.
folks? Some people don't improve for the next 2 years, and some people improve a lot. Some people improve a little bit. It
Yeah,
changes things. And like, look at your career. Like, you were coming into your own just around like this.
26, 27.
Yeah,
So it's that's what I liked about that organization. They gave everybody a chance, and you knew if somebody got called up, you knew like it was no big deal because they deserved it. When you're in the New Jersey system, you saw people get called up, and you're like, why is that guy getting called up?
makes
Like it
no
makes no
sense.
sense, no sense at all. But
And
it was good.
that sucks for guys when you're playing in the HL and
Yep,
you're playing well, and then you see some guy that is not playing well get called
that's
up. You're
right.
like, it hurts. It hurts.
Yep,
It hurts
yep,
your heart.
it
Yep.
does. So
Anyways, it didn't hurt my heart in Daytona Beach when my buddies were getting called up to the A because I didn't want to even go there. I enjoyed Daytona Beach. Um, but you actually played games for the Pittsburgh Penguins with those players. So what was that like? Like you played with Crosby, Malkin, and I
yep,
Malkin was had his big years then, and
yep. My first year there was a lot of those games were without Sid. I was fortunate enough that Sid was hurt, so I got to get called up a little bit. Um, just those guys are phenomenal. Sid would go 1 against 5 in practice and beat every single one of you. Coach would yell at you because he didn't stop him, and it was like you can't stop that guy. The thing was like Malkin was just as good, maybe more skilled, but just Sid just he had it in his gut that he was going to be better than everybody. And he was 21 years old, I think, that first year that I was there. I got to watch a lot. There's plenty of games where you get one shift. I bet you how many that first year I played 15 games. I bet you 10 of them I played 3 or less shifts.
yeah, no,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's just the way it is. But you're happy to be there. You're practicing with them. You're making NHL money, and heck, you're in the NHL. So
But
you
it's
go with
it.
it.
I think the hardest thing, like, I think there's a lot of guys, especially my buddies, that get their cup of coffee, but it's that actual becoming the full timer thing that,
It's the
like,
hardest thing to do. Yep.
yeah,
It's easy to get there. There's a saying. It's easy to get there. It's the hardest thing to do is to stay there.
yeah,
Like you're there, and there's 12 other wingers in the American Hockey League that are trying to take your job
yeah, every year, and
from
there's more
the
coming every year from college.
exactly
There were
exactly.
coming from everywhere, from
Yep.
Finland, from Sweden, from anywhere.
Yep. So the next year we go back to Pittsburgh because I was on a 2-year contract. We go back to Pittsburgh and didn't even get an exhibition game at a training camp, and I'm like rattled. I'm like, I played 15 games last year. Like how I'm not even getting an exhibition game.
That's pretty
So I say
weird,
this to
no?
Ray Shiro, and Ray Shiro's like, your exhibition games were last year. We seen you play 15 games. We don't need to see you. We want to watch some of the other kids play. Okay, so
So they're
we're in for a
basically like,
long.
we know what you bring to the table. We know what your skill set is. You
Yeah,
are what you are.
we'll see you in the minors, right? I'm like, okay, that's fine. So I go to the minors and send a message right away, like just go on a goal scoring tear. I think I had 10 goals in
So you
7
didn't go
games.
to Taco Bell like when I got sent down to the coast.
I probably did. Probably hit McDonald's on the way from Pittsburgh to Wilkes-Barre for sure. But
Jesus, as soon as I lost 26 pounds and I thought I was all jacked up, and then I had like 2 points a game in the AHL preseason, I was like, and they're like, you're playing great, you're on the team, you're gonna get a
yeah,
place. And then they're like, well, all these guys got sent down. No, you're not on the
yeah,
team. You're going down to
yeah.
Dayton. And I'm like, well, guess where I'm going? Taco Bell, cheesy gordita crunches, folks. This free ad for cheesy gordita crunches and the East Coast.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, it's hard though. Like it really is. Like when they just make those decisions and they don't make sense. It's hard for players, right?
yeah, it is. See, I ended up getting called up pretty early, and I was up and down quite a bit the rest of the year. And actually, I played a lot better that year. I felt more comfortable. You feel like you're gaining confidence, and the next thing you know, trade deadline comes. Ryan Whitney's out. Chris Kunitz comes in, and there goes my number. And I was wearing 14 at the time, and he takes the number, and you get sent to the minors, and you're like, well, that's it.
So you're part of that trade then. Is he's a left winger and you're a
He's
left
a left
winger?
winger. Yeah. And yeah, they were making a run for it, right? New coach came in, Dan Bilesman, our minor league guy from the minors came up and he was started coaching and they made that trade and Bill Guerin came in at the same time. There's a few trades that year and it was just they took off and
Well,
yeah,
so yeah. So they did they win it that year?
yeah, we won it that year. So I went back to the minors, ended up going back up for the playoff run. So a
And you
black
had to
ace.
bag skate every day?
Yeah, we had to skate every day.
Like just bagger. Like how long? An
Uh,
hour?
we do a couple honest to God, we do a couple skill drills. Coaches were pretty lenient. They know like what kind of mentality you're in and they take care of you pretty well. But
Okay.
you got to work hard, right? You're still in the NHL. Like, what if someone calls on you? Like, you got to be ready to go. So we do a couple skill drills, couple flow drills. We get a little bag skate in, and then we play 3-on-3 cross ice. And man, we had a blast. We had a lot of fun. By 2 o'clock, you're sitting on a patio normally and having a couple beers and enjoying life, playoff hockey. And if you're on the road, so road trips, we were allowed to go on the road with the players. But you weren't really allowed to communicate, hang out with the players. You had your own little dressing room off to the side. When they were done their pregame skate, so that's when we got to go on the ice. So we'd be going on the ice, kind of messed up ice, and we'd have about 15, 20 minutes to get our like skate conditioning in. And we get our conditioning in, we do a little off ice workout, and then we go sit at the pool in Carolina and hang out for the day. So
Doesn't sound that bad, but
honestly, it wasn't. Man, I enjoyed it. It was a great experience, and we got to go watch NHL hockey live. And not only NHL,
I
the
guess
best.
there's still a couple questions here. So that's when Pittsburgh wins it, and that's against Carolina. Is who wins? Who they beat?
No, we beat Carolina in the semifinals, and then we went on to Detroit.
Right.
So
So
Detroit
then you
beat us.
finally flip it around, and then
Yeah, Detroit beat us the first year that I was there, and then
So were you a black ace both years?
No, because we were still playing. We played longer than them in the minors that year.
So
we
you were
were
good, but you didn't win it.
Yeah, we lost to Chicago in the finals
That sucks.
the first year there. So
right. Yeah, that's right. Haydar and
Haydar, Krog, and all those guys. Yep.
Yeah, those
Stacked.
pricks.
Yep. So
but you did get to carry around the Stanley Cup. So hey, hold on. Cheers, buddy. This is the closest the pod has ever got to really winning a Stanley Cup. So cheers.
Cheers. You need to get somebody else on here then. Someone that's actually won it.
Well, eventually we'll get there, right? Like you just added 40 NHL games. I'm just having my friends on and locals and whatever.
You've had lots of guys. Foster and
well, he played one game. Oh yeah, but he's my
Spilo.
He's my college. Foster's my college roommate.
Oh,
Spilo
come
played
on.
roller hockey with me. These guys, all I know, like so we're.
I played with Spilo when it was the Niddle. When he was Niddle.
You played with him as Niddle too?
Yeah, in Albany. So my year in Albany, he was Niddle.
Oh dear.
And then
he was Niddle when I grew up
with him.
He's
a Spilo, and I'm like, who's Spilo? And they're like, this guy's unreal. And you get out there and watch him, and he scores every shift, and he dominates every hockey game. You're like, this is not the same guy.
And he's 6'4", 6'5", and
250, like just a beast.
And running the half wall, just snapping pucks. Yeah,
just sick sauce. Yeah, unreal.
Yeah, it was a strange bell curve on that fella, you'd say, right? So okay, we haven't even got to Germany yet, even though you can't talk German. You did play with Sid and Malkin. I think we talked about that. I do actually, on my notes here, want to know about your first time playing your first NHL game, because as a little boy from Elmira that never got to do it, I kind of like to hear about it from everybody else.
I remember my the first call up. We were in Hershey, and we get to the game. Actually, pregame nap, and I get a couple text messages and phone calls from some of the guys that are already called up in Pittsburgh, and they're like, "You're getting called up." I'm like, "No, I'm not. Shut your mouth." like there's no way this is happening. And they're like, no, your name bar is up in the dressing room already. Like you're playing tomorrow. I'm like, oh
And this is
shit.
from the guys on the team, and you don't even
Yep.
know yet?
Yep. Like I haven't even found out yet. So so I kind of have an idea, and I'm like, obviously I don't have a pregame nap because I'm all wound up. And I get to the rink for the game, and the coach pulls you aside, and he's like, "Yeah, you're going up." Unbelievable, right? And then he's like, "The limo or the car service will be here at 8:30 or something to pick you guys up." There was 3 of us, and I go, "Car service?" And he goes, "Well, someone else can go if you don't want to go." And I'm like, "Well, no, I'm going." Like I just shocked. Like I thought they'd fly you, right? So anyways, we jump in this car service, and it was a good 5 to 7 hour drive from Hershey to Pittsburgh. So like we're not talking quick, like it was a long drive. You're all wound up and you're on your cell phone the whole time talking friends, family, wife, like you name it.
I can't imagine how many people you'd want to tell.
Just so pumped, exhausted. You get there late at night, you wake up in the morning, you go for pregame skate. Yeah, just in awe of everything. Like barely met anybody. You don't know what to do. You don't know like you're allowed to grab a roll of tape or if you're allowed to tie your skates or you're supposed to be the last one on the ice or the first one on the ice, what meeting you're supposed to be in. You don't have a clue. And just pure excitement the whole time too. Like you're in the NHL. It's unbelievable.
What age are you at this time?
27, I think. I think I was 27.
How many 27-year-olds are getting their
Might have
NHL
been 26.
debut?
Might have been 26. Either way.
But either way,
It's-
like how many people are getting their NHL debut at that age?
Not many. So it was fun. It was great. It was against the Washington Capitals. So Sid didn't play that game. He was obviously hurt, but Malcolm was there playing against Ovechkin. So I remember taking a run at him at center ice. I think I had 7 shifts or something or 10 shifts. Wasn't much, but anyways, I remember trying to run Ovechkin at center ice and it just put me in like dead stop and just knocked the wind out of me. And I just remember like just hurling over. You know how you get the wind knocked out of you, you just bend over and you're like, oh shit, stand up. This is on TV. Like you got to get to the bench quick and just get to the bench as quick as possible and just like don't hit that guy again. Like he was a beast. He was a man. Like he was running into a brick wall. And I remember seeing him cutting through the middle of the ice, and I just went, I got to hit this guy. And nope.
Well, you got to try. You got to see what it's like.
Right.
It's just like your kids nowadays. You got to let them jump off that thing to see that it hurts before.
That's it.
Yeah, it's like trying to reverse hit Adam Keefe in the UK league. It doesn't feel good either.
Oh, Kiefer. Yeah.
Yeah, that guy about. I was pretty aggressive with the reverse hits, and then I tried one on him. She didn't go well. Yeah. Anyways, I remember that one. Okay. Next question. Where were we? Okay. Are we in Edmonton yet? We're not even in Edmonton.
No, we haven't got to Edmonton yet. No.
Okay, so then you do your 2 years with the Pens, and you get 15 games 1 year, 20 games the other year. You can't quite like really get your chance with them, and I get what that's like. It's kind of like when I was like in Columbus and I never had a chance. But then you go to you leave there after 2 years and you go sign with Edmonton. But now you're like what 27 and you're still signing NHL deal. So like
28. Yeah, I was 28 and we were Pittsburgh offered me a contract. And there was a young kid coming in named Luca Caputi. Not sure if you know that name, but really good friend of mine. He kind of pretty much lived with my wife and I at the same time. We'd spend the night there, just had a couple too many, but young kid. But he was a rising star for that organization. And he was kind of coming up and play the same role as me. So I kind of knew like they offered me a contract, but weren't willing to go like high-end money in the American League. And other teams were offering twice as much money to play in the American League. So it was kind of, what do you do? Do you go? Do you stay? When
people want you, people want you.
Yeah. So I chose to go. I thought Edmonton was a good choice. It was between them and St. Louis, and I just felt like Edmonton was a good choice. There was a good chance to make a team. They weren't at the top of the league then. They were kind of low ball. and there was, I think, 5 spots available, and there was 7 or 8 of us kind of like borderline NHL minor league guys that signed there. So you go to camp there thinking you have a chance to make it and try
That's
your
a good
best. And
feeling. Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of the way it felt in the first few days. You're kind of in a roll, you're in a groove, and then you hit a little rut and things don't go the way you want it. And next thing you know, you're in the minors and
But you did good
have at it.
again there, right? Like you did good again there. Like, what you mean? Like you're going to the minors? Like you're going to the AHL and putting up like a point a game and putting up
Well,
numbers.
I went to the minors, and again, I think I had 10 goals in first 7 games, thinking I'm going to get called up, but had a serious concussion. Uh, I sat out half the season, I think, major serious concussion. Things weren't good.
Fight
Um,
hit.
Hit, got hit in Lowell one night, blindside, taking a slap shot. This guy came through with an elbow, caught me on the chin, spun me around.
Yeah.
Anyways, funny thing was I fought through it, finished that game. Never should have finished that game. Finished that game, played the next one, scored 2 goals. During that game, I was like dizzier than anything on the bench. I wasn't feeling very well. So after that game, I kind of told myself I got to say something to somebody. Said something. Um, Anyway, sat out half the season after that. I don't think I got back till February.
It's hard, eh? Saying something to someone like
Well, it's what you want to do. You want to play
no, and it's hard. Like
less.
I get it because I was growing up the way that like with concussions especially like if you're going to tell people about that, that
Yeah,
means you don't even get to finish the game, let alone
that's
that you actually might not even get to play the next game and somebody
yeah,
might take your spot. Like
that's
you just did it. You just did it. You didn't tell anybody about it. You
that's
just
it.
did it, right?
So yeah, so I
So you
decided
had a
in the
bad
dressing room.
one.
I just scored 2 goals against Albany one night, and I just sitting in my stall after the game, and I could barely even think, and my mind was just I could barely see, and I just said I got to tell somebody before this gets too far.
I
So I
there
did.
when it gets to that point, like I for me, I had the times where you couldn't really see the other side of the arena,
That's
like
it.
where it's like
Yep.
kind of foggy, and
Yep.
you're like, I think this is nothing. I think this will
Yeah.
work itself out. But like, then when you get the ones worse than that, it's like, well, I
That's what
can't.
scared me about it is I went through those symptoms that first week of practicing. I'm like, I can fight through this. I can fight through this. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. And then I played that game and score a couple goals, and people are tapping you on the head, and you're like, please don't touch me, don't touch me, don't touch me, you know? And it was starting to get a little scary. So I decided to say something, sat out half the year, got back into the lineup. Once I did get back, it was a struggle at first. Obviously, you weren't in game shape, you weren't in any kind of rhythm, and then you finally catch your rhythm. You start scoring some goals. Got called up for 5 games towards the end of the year with Edmonton. Awesome, great little trip. We played in Montreal, in Toronto. I'd never played in Toronto before, so that was I've been
Big.
healthy
That's
scratched.
a big deal. That's a big
I,
deal.
I was a healthy scratch 3 times with Pittsburgh, I think, in Toronto. So when I got to play in Toronto with all my family and friends there with Edmonton, it was awesome. Loved it. Then we went Columbus, Minnesota, then played a game in Edmonton against Detroit, which was my favorite team growing up. So that was like a dream come true. You got Lidstrom and Zetterberg and Datsuk out there, and um,
And you were playing with
awesome,
Edmonton
amazing.
against them.
Yeah.
So then the next, okay, because you still got a lot of shit to do here, and we've been going for a while. Like seriously, like you do. Um, is that you got to do all that shit, but then it seems like you signed with the actual your favorite team, the Red Wings organization, for 2 years.
So
Are you
that
chasing
was
to play with those fellas, or what are you doing
well,
there?
that was like
That's a tough team to crack, there, big guy.
it was the reason we went there was we knew we were kind of with the head injury and everything. We knew we were kind of like our NHL being 30, 29 years old, your NHL dreams are kind of over with. And either play in Grand Rapids, sign with Detroit and try and make a dream come true of playing for your favorite team growing up, or um, my other option was with Washington and Hershey, which was always being in Wilkes-Barre. Your rival was Wilkes-Barre or Hershey, so you always knew what kind of a spot that kind of place was, and it was one of the best places to play in the minors, right? So you're always like, oh, should I do it? Should I do it? Anyway, this is July 1st, whatever free agent signing day was. It was, I'm going to sign. Let's dream come true. Let's go to Detroit. Let's sign there. See what happens. Those head injuries didn't really go away. So like the harder you worked out that summer, the worse it got, the worse it got, the worse it got. And
you didn't know anything about it. And you're just a no one sound by yourself.
Yeah. And the harder the workouts got, the worse it got. And I actually had to stop working out. I think the second week of August, where I just couldn't handle it anymore. Like I'd be coming home from workouts and I just have to lay here. I couldn't go anywhere. Just nervous to even like stand up and walk around. And so I went to training camp, didn't tell anybody anything. And I went to training camp in Detroit, and I walked in about a week before. I went to train like a week before, just because I knew I had to get this out there. So I went and I sat on the trainer's table and I was like, I haven't trained in like probably 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And this is what's happened to me. This is my past. And you know what? Awesome care by the Red Wing training staff and the doctor's appointments and it was awesome what they did, all the appointments and everything to try and get things figured out, put me on a path of which way to go and where and how we're supposed to work this. And ended up by the end of training camp, I was skating on my own. And I remember Babcock, he was the coach then in Detroit, and he was sitting up in the stands and he'd be watching just me on the ice, me and like the fitness instructor or the fitness coach. And so that makes you nervous. You got the head coach, like he could be elsewhere doing whatever in training camp. He's got some free time, but he's up there watching me by myself and just kind of train on my own and skate. He ended up talking to me about a couple days after that. And just kind of, I was, hey, you're cleared to play. Everything's looking good, blah, blah, blah. Love the practice that you had. Loved watching you skate. Like you're big, you're strong, whatever. You go to the net, you got a big butt. All those things that Babcock always talks about. And so you're excited. You go to the minors and didn't have a great start to the season by any means. I think it took me 15 games to score, and it's never happened to me in the American League. And just lost confidence in my game and took a while to get back. But the second half of that season, we did pretty well. We didn't make playoffs or anything, but personally did okay towards the second half of that season. Good bunch of guys, awesome city, great restaurants, great place to play.
Is this Grand Rapids?
Yep. Grand Rapids.
Yeah,
Michigan.
so that's not far from Western Michigan University, right, where I went. But now that we've been here this long, and now you do not get more call-ups to the NHL, I'm going to have to move on, even though I've just flipped my notes upside down. Oh, there they are. Chris Minard. Is you go 2 years with them. They don't give you a call-up.
I wasn't good enough to get a call-up. Say that.
And okay. Your head was okay through it?
No, so here's the thing is I played that first year with all that shit, with all the head symptoms and all that kind of stuff. The second year, okay, I told them like halfway through the summer, it's happening again. Like my head, like it's not good. Like things are happening.
Nothing happened? Like you didn't hit it?
No, nothing happened like that. Just stuff, just symptoms would pop up out of the blue as the workouts would get harder and harder. Didn't make sense. So from there, we went back to training camp and we get on the bus to go to training camp. And the one thing I have to say bad about Babcock, like he looked at me when I got on the bus, he goes, how you feeling? And he knew like I wasn't going to be participating in training camp for the second season. And I just said, not great. Like, here's the symptoms I'm having. He laughed at me. Okay. So this guy laughed at me, and I'm having concussion issues, and I'm like worried about my life and like whether I can ever play hockey again. And this guy laughed at me. Totally lost respect for him. That from then on, like it was just I sat out I think that first half of the season. I don't think I came back until January when I actually went and played a couple games. They were down in Charlotte. Ended up doing okay. Came back. Once we got done with that head thing, the head issue, you know what the problem was? Sleep apnea.
Is that right?
So the head issue caused the head drama caused sleep apnea. Okay, so once I got
Are you
the
wearing the
CPAP
mask
machine,
now?
yeah. So now we wear a mask sleeping, and once we got that, about 6-8 weeks into it, we were fine. We were doing full on things, like we were skating full on. We were working out nonstop. Like it was like get back in shape. It was the weirdest thing.
Huh. I think
So
for that guy to laugh at you,
that was
that's yeah, that's one of
yeah.
those things that's just hard to get
I
over.
that's one thing I could never get over, and
Yeah, no, I understand
just
that.
you hear the stories about him from other players that came out when he got fired from the Leafs, and it's just like totally true, totally true.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
but
that sucks.
a great coach he is. Not so. I don't know what kind of a person he is. So
Right. That's when you're a player and then there's coaches, you don't know what they're really like as people. You don't
yeah,
know what they're like as an individual.
yeah,
Are they a good person? Are they a good friend? There were a lot of coaches I had over my days where I'm like, were they actually really good people? But
yeah.
anyways, a lot of people helped me through my time. So here we go. You left Edmonton. I think we got sidetracked with everything. I think we should keep going because you still have more shit. We haven't even got to Germany yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we should be in Germany now. We just finished Grand Rapids, Detroit.
Yep, there we go. We're going to the Kolner Haie.
The Kolner
Ko-
Haie. So
Kolner Haie?
Haie. I call my buddy. This team offers me a contract, and I call my friend Connor James, was a teammate in Wilkes-Barre in Pittsburgh, and I said, "Tell me about this Kolner team." And he giggled and he goes, "Kolner." I'm like, "Yeah, this team in Germany, Kolner." No clue. So Kolna Haie, what a city, what a place. We spent 3 years there. Just an awesome experience. I had two boys that were fluent in German. Just awesome experience. Loved every second of it.
So how old are your kids?
I have 11, 9, and I have a 6-year-old daughter. So
They were
our daughter, my daughter Mila, she was born in Cologne. So just a
so the 11-year-old was the one that was fluent.
11, and both boys were fluent. Both boys were fluent. They were my 11-year-old when we were retired and left Dusseldorf. He was finishing grade 1. Little
And
guy
they learn that
Mannix.
shit quick, man.
It was unbelievable. We put him in as soon as we got there. Chase was 2, Mannix was 6 months, and once Chase turned 3, we could put him in the daycare system. And the daycare was right kind of behind our house, kind of in our driveway. And we just threw him in there. Like he just went and played with kids, and he didn't understand anything. And he picked the language up pretty good. But by
Well,
that
they're
second,
sponges at that age, is
yeah,
they?
by the second, third year of being in Germany, he was speaking fluent, and he was speaking German with all the other kids. And even my younger boy, the middle child, Mannix, he by the time we left Germany, I couldn't believe him speaking to German kids the way he was. And I was like, I didn't know you could do that. Like, he was just awesome.
And it's gone now. It's gone.
Yeah, gone. We'll spit it out once in a while around the house. We'll say a couple words here and there, but for them to just go out and speak German like that, yeah, they wouldn't.
No,
It's
I
gone.
think it's hilarious what kids can do. Like I saw it with the goalie on my team. His kids came over and picked up German within weeks, and I was
Yep.
like, I've been trying for 4 years, and you're 5 years old. Like,
Yep.
really? Like,
Yep.
you already know what that means, and they just get it. Pretty cool stuff. Like when you understand why certain people in the world know 6 languages, right?
That's right. Yeah. Well, they say
um,
once you know two, you can get more, right? So it's
Something
easier to
like
get money.
that.
So
Okay. So you go to Germany. It makes sense. I'm not going to ask you about the decision to go to Europe because it makes sense. You're like almost 30 years old. I made that decision earlier, but then you go to the Kolner. You had a great time, but then you go to Dusseldorf, which is an incredible city, and he's never come up on the pod yet, but Rob Collins
Rob Collins.
he was my favorite player as a child,
So
as a like a kid in grade 6 to grade 8. He
yeah,
played for the Elmira Sugar
yeah,
Kings, and he set the scoring record or
yeah,
whatever he did, and I
yeah,
watched him do it, and he was the guy I wanted to be. He was number 23, and Brandon Dietrich was number 10,
that's
and
right.
I wanted both of those numbers, and that's what I wore like growing up was because of those two donkeys
Yeah,
that should come on the pod and discuss this.
they should. And that I played against them their junior B years, and
Is that right?
that's the only reason I knew Rob was playing against them. And the funny thing, we were in Cologne, and they brought him in my second year in Cologne, I believe. They brought him in for the playoff stretch,
He went to
and
Cologne? I thought he was a
yeah,
Dusseldorf guy.
he was. Then I think he was playing for he went home and was playing for the Brantford Smoke or the Brampton Beast in the East Coast League.
That's yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. And then we brought him over
That's right.
to
And then he has a
Cologne.
good playoff drive, and
He had a great playoff. Great playoff.
he's in the DL for another 3 years.
Yeah. So we had a great playoff. We made it to the finals and we get to game 6. We score in overtime in game 6 to force a game 7. Okay. In the semifinals. Okay. Sorry, the finals. This is the finals. Game 6 of the finals. We score in overtime. There's a bit of a scrum after we score the goal, and here comes a Rob Collins spear. Okay. So down this guy goes, melee ensues. We got a line brawl out on the ice. Game 6, overtime. Game 7 is like 2 days later. Rob Collins suspended. So there's our
No.
number.
For
There's
the
our number one centerman
Rob
gone.
Collins is suspended for game 7 of the finals.
Game 7 of the finals. Okay.
He used to do that dirty shit back at Elmira.
What a guy. Couldn't believe he did that to our team. I'm just kidding. He was sticking up for our teammates, and he did a great job for us. But we surely missed him in game 7 as it was a 1-0 hockey game. We're playing the worst game of our life. We're just destroyed mentally because we lost our number one center. And we ended up losing 2-1 So ended up losing the finals 2-1. But he goes to Dusseldorf the next year, back to Dusseldorf for the second running, I believe. And then the year after that, he drags me there with him and spent 2 more years with him. And
well, I could see
awesome.
you two playing well together because he's a disher and you're a
So we
shooter.
did that first year. And then when we went to Dusseldorf, he had connections with the Kreutzers. I don't know if you would know the Kreutzers from over there. So Christoph was our coach and Daniel was our captain. And Rob was good buddies with the captain, Daniel, and they were line mates for a long, long time. So when they were back there, they continued to play together. And when they put me with them, it didn't really gel that well. So then I kind of got buffled down the lineup, and then things just kind of went for a shit from there. But great
that makes
experience.
sense.
Loved life in Germany. It maybe played a year or two too long performance wise, but that's life and that's the way it goes. And just enjoyed it. Made some great friends over there and loved life over there. It was awesome.
Oh, dude, I getting to live in Dusseldorf. Like, how can you say you played too long? Like, they were willing to pay you
That
to
was yeah.
live in Dusseldorf and do what you get to do to play hockey, and you get to live in Dusseldorf and hang out
Yeah.
with Collins and Stacy and the family, and like that can't be that bad of a thing,
It was it was probably two of our best years of pro hockey. Was we knew it was settling down to those 2 years, and we made great friends. There was Rob and Stacy Collins. There was the Koln boys. There was Norm Millie and his wife, and we're talking just great people. And we all lived within 400 meters of each other. And we had a blast.
Yeah, I
So it
went
was
to
good.
Dusseldorf once to visit a buddy that played for the Dusseldorf, whatever the hell they're called.
Yeah, they don't even have a
Um,
name. It's just like the day gay, like Dusseldorf. Dusseldorf. That's it.
yeah, whatever they're.
There's no name.
So you did make the decision, which, by the way, a great city. Whether you have a mascot or whatever, it's a great city. It's a great spot to visit. Like, it really is. Like, Dusseldorf, you got to live there for like a couple years. That's pretty
Yep.
cool.
Yeah.
But you live in Owen Sound now, but not Dusseldorf. You live in Owen Sound. So that's why this podcast is so real. Is you had to make that decision. Do I want to live in Dusseldorf? Do I want to go back to Owen Sound? You made the decision. You're heading home, right?
It was. Uh, I think we knew the hockey career was over. It was. We always came back to Owen Sound in the summer times, and we spent our time here with our family, and we brought the kids home. We had a house here. There was no question that this is where we were coming. It was just obviously a little disappointing that the career comes to an end and you got to find something else to do. So we enjoyed every year we ever played hockey, and we had a lot of fun. We made a lot of friends, and Owen Sound's a great city. It's a great place to grow up. We both grew up here, so we both knew we were coming back here to our family and continue. And now it's trying to help the community and trying to help the hockey community and go from there.
Well, and that's what brings up today's sponsor, folks, is Min Pro Elite Training. Is anybody can get training and whatever they need in the Owen Sound area, whether it's on ice, off ice. Chris is ready to do this for you. So thank you for helping out the kids this weekend, and
No problem.
thank you for coming on the podcast. I know it is the first Leafs game of the playoffs. Are you like a Leafs fan? Because I'm not.
Kind of was never a Leafs fan until we moved home. Now we've kind of grown into the Leaf fan. I've lost hold of the Red Wings, and then you don't really want to cheer for the Red Wings or anything
Well,
anymore.
I was always a Leaf fan, but then they didn't sign me when they brought me down and everything. So then I kind of wasn't a Leaf fan. So it's kind of hard, but like I guess I am. So I
Yeah,
don't know. Yeah,
that's it.
no, but like seriously, it was great getting to know you. I know the kids want you watching the game with them, and like it's nice to hear about like a guy from Owen Sound that made it somewhat kind of like well you did
No,
make
that's
it, you
exactly it. Somewhat, kinda. That's exactly how I tell it.
right, like you
Yeah,
did,
yeah,
like you made it, you did play,
yeah. Just
right? Like I
yeah.
didn't get that far. I didn't even come close to that far. I gave up like after the first year. I went to Germany. I was like, sorry, this is way more fun.
Yeah. So
No,
it was
but
good. Loved it. Thanks for having me, and I appreciate it.
yeah, no, thank you very much, man. And like it is very impressive the career you put together. And thank you to your parents for being hockey people for all these years and everything they've done. And I can't I can't imagine doing that. So they must be
Right?
hockey people too, and well done
Yeah.
for them, right?
Crazy. Crazy.
Yeah. Okay, buddy. Hey,
All right. Cheers.
thank you so much.
No problem.